Music is made up of steady beats. A clock keeps perfectly steady beats, but humans aren't machines. For us to keep steady beats, we need to subdivide. Subdividing is dividing the steady beat into two. Each time I catch the ball, I have a steady beat. Let's count to 4 each time I catch the ball. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. My timing is okay, but it's not perfectly steady. If we want a perfectly steady beat, we need to do something called subdividing. We'll keep on counting each time I catch the ball. But when the ball goes up in the air, we will say and. Let's try it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we're subdividing the beat. We're like human clocks, and we are keeping perfectly steady time.
Ow, my head!
If you've made it this far, you've probably gotten pretty good at counting by now. It's time for the real stuff. It's time to get the show on the road. Let's play some rhythms. When you play rhythms, you need to count out loud. Each time you say a number, you're going to play a quarter note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The first measure in your snare playground paper has 4 quarter notes. Now the R underneath a note means to play it with your right hand, and the L underneath a note means to play it with your left hand. Let's try the first measure only. Play it with me. 1 and 2 and ready and go and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and stop. Great job. Now each time we subdivide, you are playing eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Why is subdividing so important?
Well, let's face it, the human body works in a certain fashion that is harder to play in slower tempos. If you can play in a slow tempo, fast tempos are going to be easier. So what I like to do is I like to basically subdivide in between when I'm playing. I'm going to play half notes real quick, and I'm going to tell you what's going on in my head. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So the slower the tempo, the more subdivisions I utilize. By subdividing, I'm able to play slower tempos more evenly. If you can play it slow, playing fast is easy. Always remember, slow down all of your hard parts and then gradually increase the speed. Play slow, fast is easy.
Look at the second measure in your music. You're going to play eighth notes with me. Ready? 1 and 2 and ready, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and stop. How did you do? I know. Playing rhythms takes a lot of focus. What? You think it's easy? Then I challenge you to play the first exercise with me, called Let's Hit. I'm listening to you and I can't hear you count loud enough, so make sure you're counting when we do it together. Now, let's do the whole thing. If you notice, on exercise 1, the first measure is all quarter notes. The second measure is all eighth notes. The third measure is 4 more quarter notes. And the last measure is all eighth notes again. Let's do it together. 1 and 2 and ready and count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and repeat. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 and stop. How did you do? If you need more practice, feel free to pause the video and rewind it and practice it as many times as you need. The next exercise is called Taco Sauce Tastes Good. Now if you notice, the first beat has 2 eighth notes, the second beat has a quarter note, the third beat has a quarter note, and the fourth beat has a quarter note. Make sure you continue to count with me as we do the exercise together. Ready? 1 and 2 and ready and go. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and stop. Great job. I could use a little bit louder counting though. In the next exercise, called I'm very hungry, make sure that you count with me, but notice that the eighth notes are on beat 2 this time. Let's start it and we'll count together. Ready? 1 and 2 and ready and go. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and repeat beginning. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 stop. How did you do? If you need extra time to practice, feel free to pause the video and rewind it, and you can practice it as many times as you need. The next exercise is called I drink lemonade. This time, the eighth notes are on beat 3. Make sure when you're playing this, in the last measure, you take the repeat back to the beginning. Let's count it and play it together. 1 and 2 and ready and go. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and beginning, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 stop. I've been watching your hands. Make sure that when you play, you are playing just off center. Don't play right in the middle and don't play too far to the edge. You want it to be just off center. You also want it to be right above the snares on the back of the drum, which run through the center of the drum. Make sure you're not off to the right or to the left or spread. You want to be right above the snares. In the next exercise, we're going to play the eighth notes on beat 4. The next exercise is called If Green, Don't Eat It. Make sure you continue to count, because when you count, you're playing the rhythms more accurately. Let's play it together. 1 and 2 and ready and go. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Beginning. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 stop. Great job. Now the sixth exercise is called target practice. The reason why is because it's almost like a game. In the first measure, the eighth notes are on beat 1. In the second measure, the eighth notes are on beat 2. In the third measure, the eighth notes go to beat 3. And in the last measure, the eighth notes are on beat 4. Okay? See if you can play it correctly, and we'll play it together. Make sure that you are moving right when it says R and left when it says L. Ready, set, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and beginning. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 stop. In the next video, we're going to learn one of the most exciting percussion exercises called the Paradiddle. Stay tuned.